Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kevlar here from Disorderly Product News. Do police have to read you your rights, commonly known as Miranda rights? Do you have to be Mirandized when you are arrested? Let's find out now. So, this is probably the biggest myth, urban legend, whatever you have. I've had this discussion in many of YouTube threads. I've had it so many times that I won't even have it anymore. I don't even bother talking about it because there's some people you just cannot get through to. No matter what you say, they believe if they are arrested and not read their Miranda rights, they can click their heels 3 times and the jail cell will magically open and they can walk out. Now, when do cops have to read you your Miranda rights? The answer to that is never. Never. They are not required to read you those rights at all, ever. Now, it commonly goes, I think everybody's heard it, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand these rights as I have read them to you? Now, different states will do different variations of it, but it's very subtle. It's always the same basic point they're trying to get across. Now, if a police officer comes up to you because they got a call or they see you and they believe you're acting suspicious and they start talking to you, anything you say at that point can be used against you because suspicion means nothing legally. The cop is just walking up to you because that's his job. Suspicion in a legal sense, for a cop to detain you, they have to have clear and articulable evidence that you are in commission of, about to commit, or have committed a crime. So, suspicion has to be coupled with a crime. If you're outside a house, they may say, oh, we believe you're casing this house. So, in that sense, they could try to put an argument together for reasonable suspicion to detain you on burglary under the idea that you were about to commit a crime. Now, that's pretty flimsy, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. So, the first level is consent. During that, anything you say, and most people don't know, they can walk away from a police officer. They believe when a police officer says something, they have to listen to them. They have to answer their question. That is completely false. If you have the right to remain silent when you're in custody, you definitely have the right to remain silent when you're free. You don't gain rights when you get arrested or detained, when you go into custody, right? You lose rights. So any rights you have when you're in custody, you definitely have when you're free. So, what are the levels of custody? The first level is detainment. They can detain you up to 72 hours while conducting an investigation, trying to gather evidence for a crime they believe or they have reasonable suspicion you committed. So, after that level of custody is arrest, obviously. Now, when they have to read you their Miranda rights is they never have to, but if they choose to, it's because they're asking you questions and they want to get evidence off of those questions they're asking you. So when they're asking you guilt-seeking questions and they want to use your statements as direct evidence in court against you, that's when they'll read you your Miranda rights. If they do not read you your rights before asking you those questions, they cannot use any of what they gather in court against you. So if the detectives come in and they start asking you a whole bunch of questions in an interrogation, if they didn't read you your rights beforehand, any knowledge they gain or garner from that investigation cannot be used against you. So, in the sense you can get out of trouble when they don't read you your Miranda rights, it's because the case is predicated on things that you told them, right? The gun is behind a trash can on 35th Street. You told them that while you were in custody. They didn't read you your rights. Well, now, that evidence has to be thrown out because it's fruit from a poisonous tree. You did not tell that citizen that he had the right to remain silent. Right? He didn't. A lot of American citizens don't believe that they have the choice to not answer police questions. They obviously have the choice. The only questions you need to ask, and this is when you're detained, is you need to give them your name and your date of birth. That's it. Right? And it varies from state to state. But you never have to answer guilt-seeking questions. The only question you may have to answer is your name and your date of birth. Other than that, you are not required to be involved in your own prosecution. Furthermore, your wife, there's a legal justification, legal room to say that your wife, your significant, well, it has to be your wife, you have to be married, cannot be compelled to testify against you in a court of law. So you don't have to ever be involved in your own prosecution. If they want to get evidence, if they have evidence, go get it. But I'm not going to help you. Right? Now, 90% of cases, the detectives are not there trying to find evidence. They already have it. Right? Cops saw you do something. An eyewitness saw you do something. You know. It's only like cases of murder and let's say home invasion, these big crimes that they don't have enough evidence and they need you to kind of tell on yourself, in which they'll read you your Miranda rights. But 90% of the time when you get arrested, they really don't need any evidence that you're going to give them, so they don't read you your Miranda rights. But, so, they never had to read you your Miranda rights. But if they want to use what you say and they're asking guilt-seeking questions, then they have to read you your Miranda rights, or nothing you say after when they start questioning you can be used as direct evidence in court against you. So that's the myth. Never do they have to read you your Miranda rights. Never. You will never get out of jail just because they did not read you Miranda rights. That is a lie. That is a falsehood. I don't know how it's lived on for this many years, but that is the case. So if the only way that's going to happen is if your case is completely predicated on evidence that you gave and your Miranda rights weren't read, then you'll beat the case based on that. Captain Kevlar, over and out.